Hello, we are here with Alex Theuma. Hello, Alex. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm super excited to be at my first RD Summit. So thanks for having me.
And what do you think about RD Summit so far?
I'm so impressed. It's bigger than I expected. It looks amazing. Like when I arrived on Tuesday for the Brazil SaaS Forum. And we were in the VIP room overlooking the main stage, and I was like, wow, 5,000 people are going to be here, and the lights and everything. Like, the production is super cool. So it is so much better than I anticipated. You know?
Yeah, it's too much people. 8,000 we have now today. It's just really huge. 8,000
people in 5 years is like really, really cool growth. It kind of shows that I think the movement, it's happening, right? It's right now.
And you were the co-founder of SaaS Stock, right?
Correct. Yeah.
How was it? How was to build it? And what was like the greatest thing that you ever lived doing it today?
Yeah, so like SaaS Stock, so we've been doing it for 2 years now. First year we had 700 attendees from 34 different countries, and this year we double in size. So it was about 1,500 attendees from 44 different countries. I think one of the most amazing things, like for me about it, is it's such a global audience that we have. So in fact, we had Eric, the CEO of Resultados Digitais, or RD, it's easier for me to say. Eric came along, and there were 15 other Brazilians. But we had founders from Mexico, from the US, from Australia. So it's really nice to see this global community coming to Dublin. And it's kind of one of the things that I knew would sort of happen, like when I started the conference. But until you're there, and until you've got all these different nationalities together who are there, like hungry to learn and share with each other, it's like super nice thing to see. So it's one of the biggest things for me about this event that we run.
That's awesome. And you also, besides being co-founder of SaaS Stock, you also have worked in SaaS company for more than 10 years, right?
Yeah, well, not strictly true, but I've done sales for 11 years in IT and cloud computing, and then enterprise software. So it was really like the last 3 years of that sales career that I got really interested and passionate and geeky about SaaS. I was a bit of a SaaS nerd. So I decided to start this blog. I'd never blogged before in my life. I was a sales guy that had, didn't really have writing skills. But I thought I'll do this SaaS blog, and started to push myself. And so I started SaaScribe.com. Very quickly, I started to do a podcast on SaaS. And that enabled me to build out a network whilst I was still working for this enterprise software company, of founders that were, growing their businesses. And through that, came the idea for SaaS Stock. Actually, somebody suggested to me, why don't you, there's no SaaS event in Europe, why don't you do it? Because you're doing the podcast and you're doing the blog. And I was like, it's a great idea, but it's also crazy because I've never run a conference before. So like I'm lacking the experience there. But it really stuck with me, and the more people I spoke to, I became convinced that I needed to do this, and so kind of went with it. Luckily, it worked, right?
Yes. Well, luckily for us too, that to have you here today to share all of this experience with us.
Yeah, no, looking forward to it.
You're going to talk about communities, right?
That's right. Yeah. So I think from the outset, I truly believe that if we were going to build SaaS Stock and for it to be successful, that we really need to be active in the community and look at community as really the driver for our success and as our kind of North Star. So, through the blog, we started engaging with the community and getting the community to contribute. Through the podcast, I was interviewing the community. Then we started to do like local meetups, and not just in London, where I'm based, but in Dublin and in Berlin and around Europe. Speak to the community, and they were the initial customers of SaaS Stock, the first people to buy the tickets, the first people to sponsor the event. So it's been super important for us to really be engaged at all different levels, both online and offline. And I think without putting in that work and without recognizing the importance of community, SaaS Stock wouldn't be here today.
And building a community might be like a really hard thing to start with. So what would you say about someone that is going to start a new business in a different market and wants to start to build a community around the subject? What would you recommend to those people that are starting their business?
I think the main sort of piece of advice is like be prepared for it to be a long-term thing, right? You can't build a community overnight. It just doesn't happen, right? You've got to be involved in multiple channels. So like do some of the online stuff, whether that is, writing a blog or having a Facebook group, around a specific topic, growth marketing or whatever, right? Be engaged with the people online. Do the offline stuff as well, right? So do the local things, run meetups or some mini events or dinners or whatever it is, right? You've got to be prepared to do that. And in the early days, I thought, this is super tough. I'm doing the blog, I'm doing the podcast. Oh, I've got to do another meetup, and it's like so much work and effort, but it pays off, right? And you could quit early, but don't quit early, right? Because if you quit early, because people didn't read the blog post, or you've only got 100 listeners on the podcast, and you lose a little bit of heart from that. It's a mistake. You need to keep going. It takes time. RD Summit, we've got 8,000 people here. That's taken 5 years, right? It's not an overnight success. It's probably taken longer, right? So yeah, you've got to be prepared for the long term. Otherwise, don't do it. Yeah.
We have a saying here in Brazil, I'm not sure if you have ever heard about that, is there's no free lunch. Have you ever heard about it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like that. You have to invest to get something in return.
Yeah, I love free lunches though,
Yes, exactly. And talking a little bit more about SaaS company, if someone's starting a SaaS business right now, what would you recommend them to start? Of course, going to your blog would be a good idea to start.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many great online sort of resources to learn about SaaS, but I think everybody knows what SaaS is now. But perhaps what they don't know is like how difficult it is actually to scale a SaaS business. It is super tough, right? And I don't know what the percentage is, but I think the majority of SaaS companies, will fail, right? So to have, success stories like Resultados Digitais, is super exciting to see. It's great for the ecosystem. So the other Brazilian SaaS companies, they can look up to, companies like RD and learn from those. So learn from the success stories. One of the other things is like, I think, people talk about playbooks, right? But there isn't a one-size-fits-all playbook. So what worked for RD doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for somebody else, okay? You're going to have your own playbook. And that's something that I've sort of definitely seen, heard about, and learned over the last couple of years. I initially started out thinking that there wasn't one playbook fits all. But it's not the case, right? And everybody is different. But one of the amazing things about SaaS and the SaaS ecosystem and community is that everybody is really sharing with each other, even to their competitors. Like online, they're sharing their secrets, and it's just an amazing thing to see. And I haven't seen that in any industry in my lifetime. And that's one of the great things about SaaS Stock is that when you come there, you're getting all of these secrets that are being shared on stage, but also in the corridors and at the dinners in the evenings. And I think it's probably the same thing here as well.
Sure. And also SaaS Stock has been contributing to this sharing of information along mainly Europe, right? And to finish a little bit more about the SaaS industry, what would you say is like the trend for next year, 2018? What would you expect to happen next year?
I mean, it's tough. I don't have a crystal ball, and I don't know, trends is probably not my sort of biggest strength, but I know like this year, like AI has been like super huge and the number one thing. Everyone all of a sudden became an AI-driven SaaS company overnight. I think they just changed the marketing on the website and said, yes, we have AI, right? So that was kind of interesting to see. I don't know how many of these are truly sort of AI, and perhaps the ones with AI, might be the ones that win. I don't know. But yeah, I think, companies as well, like it's super difficult to bootstrap a SaaS business. So I think that we'll see that more and more SaaS companies will be raising investment from seed to Series A, Series B and onwards. I think from what I've seen in the market that just bootstrapping is super hard, and there aren't that many bootstrapping success stories. There are a few, but not many. So we'll just see more people. They need the money to scale their businesses. And VC is the answer, apparently. Yeah.
Sure. Well, Alex, I appreciate your time. I really enjoy having you here in the RD Summit.
Yeah.
Maybe next year you're going to be here too in Brazil for an opposite RD Summit.
I hope so. So definitely, I think we have plans to maybe do a little SaaS Stock event in Brazil. Watch this space, I would say. But yeah, for sure, I'd love to come back to RD Summit next year as well. I mean, you won't have to twist my arm, put it that way.
It would be a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you.
you.
No, thank you.